Remember those lists that would go around MySpace if you're old enough to remember MySpace, or if you're on Facebook, sometimes they still go around where it's like learning a little bit of topical things about someone. So sometimes it's a category like where you grew up or some of the things that you did when you were younger. All sorts of things like that. And of course, there's a crochet one going around YouTube right now. I don't know exactly where it started. Possibly Rachel from the Faded Wildflower Crochet, but if I am wrong, please correct me. I was personally tagged by Moonbay Crochet, Brandy over there. Well, actually, she did what I would do, which is just tag everybody. And the reason these are considered tag lists are because you would complete yours and then tag however many of your friends that you wanted to complete that. And, to kind of sort of like chain mail, chain letters, but in electronic form. But it's also kind of fun and just something silly that we can all do together. So here are my tags. And of course, at the very end, feel free, or as you're watching along, go ahead and do your tags down in the comments below, or feel free to make your own video on these crochet tags and then also tag me in that video or in the description or comments. I don't remember. You do like the @ sign and then @stitches gonna stitch, and then I'll see what you came up with because I would love to know what your tag list is too. First up is, how did you learn to crochet? And largely I do credit my grandmother. I do remember, I feel like I was about 5 or 6 years old and I was probably over at her house one summer a lot and possibly getting a little too in the way. And she was crocheting, and then she actually just taught me the very, very basic, which is doing a chain with just your finger. So I didn't even start with a crochet hook. I just started with my finger and kept making endless chains, ripping them out, chaining again, starting all over, and just kept going and going and going with that. And eventually she taught me some of the basics. My mom also did some crochet at the time, but really not a lot, and she just doesn't crochet anymore for some reason. I kind of wish she would, but oh well. We all like what we like. She had her fun, and I guess she's kind of over it now. Next up is, what is your favorite thing to crochet? I genuinely don't know. I think it really just kind of depends on when you would ask me this question, because sometimes my favorite thing to crochet are like seasonal decor items, such as like these pumpkins that I clearly haven't put away. Sometimes it's going to be blankets or small stuff like dishcloths. Sometimes I will go down a whole, making coasters and dishcloths because they're quick and just something relatively mindless I can do while I'm watching TV. So it's very cyclical and kind of like depends on what phase I'm in as to what my favorite thing to crochet is. So that was the worst non-answer ever, probably. This next one is kind of mean, and that is, if you could only use one brand of yarn for the rest of your life, what brand of yarn would that be? And I don't know. Now, see, actually, I originally was going to say like Premier because it covers all the bases. They have chenilles, they have the puzzle yarn that I love, they have, basics. There's a lot of good yarns, but I was thinking budget yarns. But if budget is not a concern and I just get an endless supply, then maybe it's Malabrigo, because I don't know that I've ever used a Malabrigo yarn that I didn't like, except for maybe a lace weight, which has nothing to do with Malabrigo. It's just me and my thing on lace weight. Sometimes I think I'm going to do it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is taking freaking forever, and then I'm over the lace weight. So if it's like I'm getting a lifetime supply of just whatever, I'm going to say Malabrigo Rios. But if I am using my own money and I would have to, consider budget, then I would probably go with Premier or anything under the Premier umbrella. Lion Brand is a close second though, so that's a really tough one. I don't know who put that in there, but that was kind of mean. It's hard. It's really hard. And the only reason I did not choose Knit Picks is just because they don't have like the chenille and that sort of stuff, really. It's more the wools and acrylics and basics and blends, which they're great and I love their stuff. It's just, I need to think like, what's the most well-rounded like brand of yarn? So then I would have to go with Premier. The weirdest thing I've ever made. It depends on what you consider weird. So part of me thinks it's going to be this little guy that sits on my desk all year round, my little Grim Reaper. So as painful as this was to get through the pattern, I still super really enjoy him and I think he's adorable, but there is definitely a weird factor here. I can't deny that at all. The next runner up, hang on, going on a little field trip, and then you tell me if this is super weird or not, because some people who have visited my home think this is super weird. And if you're like, Holly, what the heck is that? It is a toilet paper cover that sits on the back of my toilet tank so that there's always a spare for guests or whatever. So, if this is super weird, then I don't know. You tell me which one is weirder, the Grim Reaper or this toilet paper cover thing. So, I don't know. What is something you'll never crochet? For me, and let me take a step back here for the full picture to illustrate why, and that is going to be a swimsuit, because I don't have any clue how to make a supportive swimsuit that is just, no, I'm not invested enough in it. I will just buy a new swimsuit if I need a new swimsuit, to be honest. Just no, thank you. Um, they're super cute on some people, and when they're done well and they're lined well, I just have this vision in my mind of the cotton or whatever getting wet and sagging, and then just all sorts of wardrobe malfunction potential in that for someone at my size. And so that's all I'm going to say about that is no to swimsuits. Next is, where do you get your inspiration? And I guess I would have to say, where don't I get my inspiration? Because I go to Ravelry, I've used Pinterest, I am starting to try to figure out the To-Do, Ribbler, those newer kind of apps. Facebook likes to show me all sorts of crochet and knit items that I will, add to my ever-growing list of things I'd love to make. I've even been just out and about. This has happened at least twice that stick out in my mind. One was fairly recent. One was a little over 10 years ago visiting in Seattle, and both women were wearing these sweaters that I'm like, if I could figure out a way to recreate them, I thought they were gorgeous. I think I might even have, do I still have a picture of the one from Seattle? Because I lost a lot of picture files when my computer died, and, it kind of toasts some of those things. So I don't know. And I know I didn't get a picture of the other one. It was just a very interesting, and it was a relatively simple line sweater. It was like a cream color, and then I want to say it was a metallic gold. It was almost like tiger or zebra-y stripes, but it was just done so tastefully. There was something about the low contrast of it that made the animal print to me read a lot classier than, just a standard animal print. I don't know. So pretty much just going and being in the world and being on the internet is where I get my inspiration, sometimes here on YouTube, because I saw this on a pattern roundup. So inspiration is everywhere. I think that's one of the great things about being a knitter or a crocheter is that you can see something and be like, I can totally make that, for about 5 times the cost in time that if you would have just bought it. So there's that. Favorite thing you've made so far this year? I don't know. Does it have to be fully done? Because I really still love my grayling sweater, even though it's on pause because it's summer, and who wants to work on, an alpaca sweater in the middle of the summer when it's 85 degrees out and sticky and gross. So I'm leaning towards that grayling sweater. There's no reason I shouldn't get it done this year. As far as something that I actually have completed, oh, that would be my hexagon cardigan. I did start this last year, but I finished it this year, so it's still very cozy, even though I am glad I did not do the ribbed band here because, as you can see, it is quite oversized, which I do love for the purpose of keeping warm. It is way too warm in here today because I'm not a huge fan of air conditioning, so I'm not going to keep that on much longer. I would have to say that would be it, is the hexagon cardigan. And I even have yarn to make more of them because why not? Obviously. Yeah, so if it has to be something that I started and finished this year, I think all I've really like started and finished this year are dishcloths because I've been trying to clean up all of my old whips. So I guess that's all there is to say about those. Crochet plans you're excited about for the future. I, okay, like everything, obviously, but if I have to narrow this down, I really want to make more homey things. In particular, the one I am most excited about are I want to make some curtains, like some sheer curtains, like they're crocheted and then they'll still filter some of the light through. And I believe I'm going to, at least for one of the rooms in my house, be using, oh shoot, I'm not going to think of the pattern or tutorial from Olga Poltava. It's like this cute little florally thing, and I don't know if I'm going to do just a straight lace weight or if I'm going to do a mohair and make it a fuzzy one. I don't know yet. I just know I really want to do more like homey things, and in particular curtains, because that's something that, I mean, our curtains can kind of become like background noise or background visual white noise, but you know, you still see them every day, and I just want to look at them and feel that joy of like, I made that and it's in my home for myself and everybody else to see. So I guess that's why I'm most excited about crocheting curtains, which sounds so lame. I hear it. I am hearing it, but I really want to make curtains. What is the worst thing about crochet, in my opinion, is the fact that I don't have time to do everything I want to do or make everything that I want to make. And I have to work and put a roof over my head. And so, like, listen, um, if you know of any eligible bachelors, divorcees, what have you, in the 40 to 50-ish age range that would love to support a crocheter knitter full time, you know, let me know because I mean, I guess that's everyone's dream, probably, right? So, yeah, so that would be the worst thing to me is just not having enough time in the day to work on the things that I want to work on. And then, lastly, what is your favorite thing about crochet? Obviously, we can talk about stuff like I can do it while I'm watching TV, or some people can do it in the car. It personally makes me car sick, unfortunately, so that's not good. And I'm totally jealous if you can crochet as a passenger and not get car sick because that's the second dream. Um, anyway, so maybe that's something I could work on. I don't know. So aside from all of those things, I would have to say just knowing that I can create whatever my little heart desires in whatever color my heart desires and just play around with yarn and make something that I know I'm going to truly enjoy and love. And I mean, it's something as simple as a sweater, which okay, this might go into like the knitting territory and fine because a lot of us do both. And like so like let's say you go to the store and you see a sweater and you're like, "Wow, I really like the line or shape of it and it fits really well and the color is almost." Well, now I can make that sweater in exactly the color I want, or a color that I know is going to flatter me. Or maybe I love the color and that's my inspiration, but I hate how the rest of the sweater looks and I don't like the texture or whatever. It is so customizable to make whatever the heck I want and be proud of it and see it. So, whether it's something that I am wearing, whether it's something I'm decorating my house with, or, you know, gifting, because I've gifted these guys before, um, there's just something very fulfilling about creating all of these things with your own hands that, to me, I don't know. I feel like we're on earth to have some sort of creation, and these are my little creations. And I'd love to hear what your favorite part of crochet or knitting is. Oh, also shopping for yarn, because who doesn't love shopping for yarn? So that's a, you know, close runner up is shopping for yarn, because that's, you know, a whole separate hobby sometimes. So, you know, anyway, that is my list of crochet tags. I cannot wait to see yours down in the comments or in your own video. Don't forget to tag me at Stitch is Gonna Stitch. And As always, I had so much fun hanging out with you today, and I cannot wait to visit with you in the next one. Bye.